Good morning and welcome to the official live stream of the 2016 Over the Edge event to benefit Special Olympics Delaware. I'm John Busby, will be your host for today's 9-hour broadcast, along with Jimmy Smith, who has been the executive producer of this production for the past 2 years, and this will be his third year, and we welcome him. He's always kind enough to not only head up the production crew, but to also come on the air with me to alleviate some of my voice that'll go on throughout the day. So, Jimmy, welcome to you. This 6th annual event, sponsored by TD Bank, Brandywine Realty Trust, and Newcastle County Fire Service, is taking place at the 300 Delaware Avenue building in Wilmington, Delaware. The picture you're looking at right now is at the bottom of a 17-story, 222 feet rappel down the side of the Brandywine Realty Trust building, also known as the 300 Delaware Avenue building here in Wilmington, Delaware. I said good morning. I should say good afternoon to those of you who have tuned in from overseas. I know for a fact a couple people have, knowing the folks that are going down, and that's one of the beauties of this broadcast is it doesn't matter where you live or really what time of day it is. You can tune in live to it.
And then on top of that, John, it lives on forever on your YouTube channel.
You're exactly right. In fact, we were amazed at how many people were tuning in this past week to last year's broadcast. And just to get an idea, I heard from several first-timers who did that just to get an idea of what this would be all about. We've done this now 5 years. This is our 6th. Leading into today's event, 441 people have gone over the edge and raised more than $625,000 for Special Olympics Delaware, Delaware's sports organization for children and adults with intellectual disabilities who participate in 20 sports year-round. So all the money stays right here in the state of Delaware. Supporting sponsors of this event include Delaware Law Enforcement for Special Olympics, the Sheraton Suites right next door at downtown Wilmington, and Delmarva Broadcasting Company. WSTW is doing a live remote from this event this morning. Joe Allen, and that is whose backside you see leaning over the edge there on the orange rope, the yellow rope, I should say, which is the rope on the left. If you're looking from the top there, you'll see him getting ready to come down. And so Joe Allen, who is on the wake-up crew for WSTW, he was on the air earlier this morning, if you heard him. And
heck of a wake-up,
is now getting ready to come down. You can see the landing area there on your screen as people get prepared. Our photographers and the rope handlers get prepared to help him come down. That rope handler you see there is a Special Olympics athlete, and he's not officially a rope handler. He's just out there and helping out at the tail end of a rope that's being handled inside the pen area. And again, there is Joe Allen from the wake-up crew on WSTW. By the end of today, there will be 87 people who go down. We had 9 people go down yesterday, and so 78 will be going down today. As I mentioned, it is a 7-story building, 222 feet. And you can see Joe leaning over, and I can tell you from experience, he is at the point now of no return, and he's also at the point where you are very comfortable right there. And so he is making those first steps. He's got a little lip to go down. And we'll see something new this year for those of you that have watched this in the past, or maybe you were part of this event and you're tuning in just to see other people go through it again. There's actually a second way you will be able to come off the side of the building there. And we will see somebody do that later today, where you actually go face first. And by face first, I don't mean face first down. I mean facing out and come off the building. And so it will be interesting to see how those people, whether they choose not to come down or not. And now, Jimmy, I can tell you, I did this event last year for the first time. If I was given the choice, I would come down backwards. I don't want to see where I'm headed. I want to come down backwards.
So the new option is coming down face first. Sorry, I was dealing with some technical issues.
No, that's okay. Yeah, or face out. Face first,
out,
as
okay.
I,
Face
probably
first
not the right way to say it there. It's
bad.
probably face out. And then you kind of scoot yourself over the side. Joe Allen is broadcasting live on WSTW. We certainly don't want you to tune away from us, but you could. We'll have all due respect if you want to turn the sound down for a second and tune into WSTW. He is mic'd up live and coming down. He is a veteran. He did this the second year that we did Over the Edge. WSTW had a remote here. And coming down there is Nancy Johnson, Joe's partner on the Wake Up Crew show. And Nancy has said she will not do over the edge, but she will support the heck out of whoever does. And we appreciate them being here. It's not an easy thing to do a live remote. These guys arrived at 4:30 this morning and got set up, and they've been on the air ever since. And then here Joe is coming down, going over the edge, and doing it rather quickly. And we always talk about the speed of how people come down. It's really up to you. There is a safety mechanism that will not allow you to come down too fast. You actually literally lock up and stop. I did that once on my way down last year, and there is a very easy way to get unlocked, but that is the extra safety mechanism for it. So this is the first of what's going to be 77 more edgers who are going to come down today. And so as you see Joe getting ready to make his landing, he's going to have a little lip to get over, and then he'll be down. Coming up after him will be Marie McIntosh and Diane Shawver, followed by Lori Ableman and Rita Fry. So if you've tuned in to watch any of those folks, they are probably up on the roof going through a dry run right now, and then they will be down. We want to give a special shout out to the media people that went over the edge yesterday. Dana McDonald of Cool 101.3 went over for the fourth time. Ashley Reed, a rookie from Eagle 97.7, and Tom Schultz, 97 The Wave, both downstate stations. Lauren Holloway from WBOC TV. You might have seen that segment if you're tuned in downstate on the news last night. DJ McEnany from WDEL, the sister station of WSTW, and, of course, Joe Allen going down and making the landing official. There it is. And those two guys you see there are our expert volunteer ropers, I guess they call them, there at the bottom, and make sure that there is a safe landing on the way down. You can see the smile on Joe's face. I want to give Joe a shout out. I learned on Facebook, I'm friends with him on Facebook, he has actually lost 40 pounds since January 1st. I need to find out what he's doing, Jimmy. Was it
all have to do with this?
No, he actually didn't commit to doing this till about 3 weeks ago. So it's something that he's been working on, and give him a lot of credit. As I told him, you really never looked heavy, but you don't realize how much weight he's lost until you see it. So
I saw him more than that time ago.
Yeah. No,
I don't think.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said you don't have 40 pounds to lose,
right.
But he does look in good shape, and so kudos to him, and a special thank you for going over the edge, especially because he has done it before, and I'm sure it was still a thrill. And who knows? Sometimes we talk to people, Jimmy, and they say the second time is always a lot more fun. You can see him posing there with one of our Special Olympics athletes, and that's what it's all about.
Yep.
Special Olympics, 4,000 athletes. Our program has grown by 300 athletes since we were on the air last year, and so that's exciting. Every single dime stays here in the state of Delaware for our athletes who compete in 20 sports year-round. Joe's heading back to the 93.7 WSTW tent. One other thing that's happened since we were on the air, Jimmy, is you became a father.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And what's your baby girl's name?
Lila. Lyla.
Oh, I like that. I like the spelling. A little different.
I don't know.
Going to be a lot of trophies and plaques that are going to be spelled wrong.
I don't know it's a traditional name, but I think that's I don't know that that's a traditional spelling of it. So.
No, I like that, though.
Yeah, it's a more common getting name,
right.
And so it's not a family name. It's just kind
great.
of a name.
She's sleeping through the night yet?
No. Once a night.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, once a night
Good.
is when she wakes up. So.
Well, that's great. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And, as you've learned very quickly, there's nothing better than being a father.
No, it's
That's why I got my gray hair here.
Yeah?
So.
I'm excited for it. You're making it sound so fun.
And they do sleep through the night. I think I told you this on Facebook. They do sleep through the night eventually, and by then you start worrying about them being out all night. And so it comes around, goes around and comes around.
They sleep through the night. You don't.
So, anyway, congratulations once again. So Joe Allen has landed. Number one is on the ground. Marie McIntosh and Diane Shawver are coming up next. Marie McIntosh, actually a member of the Special Olympics Delaware Hall of Fame. Once again, this building that they are going down is something, it's where we've been all 6 years, owned by the Brandywine Realty Trust Company. They actually allowed us to go up. You see that mechanism you're looking at right now, so that's a perfect segue. Nice job by our camera people and Jimmy and his gang here producing. All that stuff you see, the ropes, they are tied to anchors that were installed specifically for this event. And I don't mean yesterday, I mean 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's something that the Brandywine Realty Trust Company allowed us to do in order to run this event. It's the only one of its kind here in the state of Delaware. And so it's one of those things that, as we always tell people, if you really want to do this, it's the only show in town. And already we have information for you if you are interested in next year's event, which will be on May 11th. It is traditionally the second Thursday in the month of May. You can go to our website, sode.org, and click on the Over the Edge banner and just ask us for more information about next year, and we'll have the official registration site up probably in the next month or so. If you are tweeting, if you're one of those people that likes to be on Twitter and you want to give a shout out to somebody who is going over the edge, please use hashtag #OverTheEdgeDE, and you can see that there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And so we want you to give shout-outs. We will try to mention it while they're coming down the building. If for some reason we have a guest here on the show, which we're going to have several of, and we don't get a chance to, we will get it out. We do promise you that. And that way, when these folks go back and they watch themselves come down, because what Jimmy and his production crew do is they split this into 3 segments, and it allows people to go back, and within a 2-hour time period, they can fast forward through when they're going to be actually going over the edge, and they get to watch it again. And it's been fun listening to people who contact us and say, wow, that was neat. We got to watch it with my parents, or we got to watch it with our siblings or our family or whatever after the fact if they missed the live thing. And then, of course, a lot of spouses and siblings and kids of the people going over the edge are actually here, and they're downstairs watching them come down, and so they're not listening to us over the edge. But again, they go back and they do watch it eventually. And so give us a shout out, use the hashtag #OverTheEdgeDE, and we will make sure that we give them a mention. The USS Alistair has already sent one in saying they're live. Tune in at 12:20 to see someone go over the edge, and I can't tell from their handle who exactly that is, but getting some tweets that are coming in already. So again, use hashtag #OverTheEdgeDE if you are going to use that. This building is 17 stories, 222 feet. So they tell us, and the texts tell us, Jimmy, that this building is the ideal size to do this type of thing. Obviously, if you're going to pay $1,100, which is what people pay, or they fundraise to do this, you don't want to just come down 2 or 3 stories. You know, it's like coming off the roof of your house. Right. Although I guess maybe some people would prefer that, but they all 17 stories is perfect. You don't want to have it to be too big. We were talking to somebody yesterday, one of the techs, and somewhere they do one that's 37 stories, and he said it's about 2 times too far, and that half of that is almost 17, and so that makes sense for that. So you can see the people there looking up. I actually know that's Tony Go, who is one of our big volunteers down in Sussex Riptide. His wife, Marie McIntosh, is scheduled to go off here in just a few minutes. He was showing me his binoculars, Jimmy, just a quick aside story that he's got there. They're actually a pair of binoculars that takes a picture. What? And I've never seen such a thing. You know, you and I both do broadcasts.
That makes sense,
but it
I've
does.
never seen that
Yeah,
before.
it focuses right in. So I guess it's like having a camera with a zoom lens and binoculars on the side. So it's pretty neat. And I said, geez, that must be new. He said, no, I've had it for years. So he scrounged them out, found them in a drawer, and so decided to bring them along. So those are the next 2 tripod, the mechanisms where they are going to go up. So Marie, who will be going down along with Diane, are not in position yet. The process that happens here is these folks arrive an hour before their scheduled rappel time, and then they go up and they're fitted. They go through training with the different devices that are on their harnesses and their belts, and then they actually go up to the roof and they do a practice rappel, which is up on a 1-story building upstairs on that roof, and they get that opportunity to get that feel for that first step back. And so It really is I know I appreciated that last year. I'm not scared of heights, but still going down a 17-story building is not something that you normally do.
Right.
And so it was nice to be able to get a little bit of a practice going to do that. Now, what is going to be interesting is I mentioned that there is a new way that people can go over the edge, and that is by kind of sitting down on that edge that you see right there, and then taking your right foot and putting it over. You take your left foot and you put it over, and then you turn your body, and then you just kind of go off the edge. And we were joking yesterday that if one of us did that, we would probably need to come, I might need to be pushed off the edge at that point.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know if I'd do it that way. I think it's a cool, it might take me a couple times. You know, I need to do it. I've never done it,
right.
So I need to do it the one way. And then I don't know, go off face first, I guess, is what that kind of sounds like.
Right. So, and that is exactly what it is. And I was talking to my colleague, Kylie Frazier, is going to be going over this afternoon right after 2 o'clock, I believe. And she was debating which she would prefer one way or the other. And actually, we talked to a gentleman, Danny Hall. He has done it all 6 years that we've had this event. and all 6 years of this event, and he decided that he preferred going over what I would say face first. Or face out. We keep saying face first, and to me that sounds like I'm falling.
That's
face
me
first.
elaborately making it bigger than it is.
So, so that is the way that people will have to decide whether they want to go face out or whether they want to go rear end out, which has been the only option leading up till now. One way is not necessarily safer than the other, we've been told. It really is truly whether it is a preference.
Like we're waiting for some of our next individuals here.
Check 1, 2. 1, 2, 3.
We got 9 o'clock. We're a minute behind.
All right.
So Marie McIntosh and Diane Shawver will go next.
They have 2 ropes going.
Yep.
We're going to call them left and right for the folks, you folks that are watching. The left rope is the yellow rope.
Yeah, you'll see right there. It's yellow and
blue.
I guess there's a lot of orange, so there's yellow and blue.
Yeah, a lot of orange up on the roof that, as you can see, you don't see. There's a rope and there's a safety rope, a backup rope. And one of the neatest things about this event, Jimmy, the reason I agreed to do it was there's a 100% success rate.
Yeah.
This Over the Edge company, which is based out of Canada, has run these events for years and years all over. 8 years, I believe, as they have been in business, as they mentioned last night at the cocktail hour, that we were one of the first that, not one of the first, but within the first couple years of them doing these events, that we were able to do that. So it is an opportunity for people to check something off their bucket list if they're able to or they're interested in doing. We've been told it's one of these things, and I'm one of these people, I would never jump out of a plane, but I did this. And I would do this again. But the fact that I did this doesn't mean I'm ever going to jump out of a plane.
Yeah, we've always asked the people, that the thrill seekers that come here that say, I spelunked into a whatever crater or whatever in Mexico. I don't know. So they do that, they skydive, and then they come do this. You're right. People are checking boxes on their thrill-seeking scale. And, I see this. I'm around it. I know what goes into it. But I'm still not there yet. I don't go on the top of the building.
Right.
This is the 3rd year. I went up the first time. The next 2 times, including this time,
right.
I've just been like, all right, guys, you know what we're doing. Go up, and I'll be down here talking with John for 9 hours.
Where it's safe, and that's safe upstairs too. And and that is one of the neat things about this. They do make this such a safe event. Even if you just want to go up on the roof and not even go near what you're seeing, where people basically are on the edge of the roof there.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be to the left of all those people, which would be at least 20 feet away from the edge, you still have to, sign a form. You have to have a helmet on.
Right.
You have to go through a whole lot of procedures to do that. And we think that is going to, just be something that is going to continue to make this event what it is because of all the safety aspects that are part of it.
I mean, that's more cables than I think some people would think, and I don't know if that makes people feel better. I know when I look at that, I go, oh, that's safe. That looks relatively safe. You're not even seeing the thing you mentioned, that this building had anchors bore into it that 6 years ago, and that, you don't even see that. You're like, oh, that's a good amount of cables. You don't even realize that they basically shot an anchor into the side of this building, and the building is holding you up.
Yes.
On top of the tripods you see there and the 6 miles of wires.
Yeah, there are a lot of cords. As somebody said up there, we were talking about whether, with your camera cords that you got up there, we were talking to the techs yesterday about whether we really needed to, either bury them or carpet them or whatever. And he said, trust me, there are so many ropes up there. We are as careful as anybody could ever possibly be when it comes to getting around up there for that. So once again, if you're just joining us, this is the live internet stream of the 2016 Over the Edge event to benefit Special Olympics Delaware, sponsored by TD Bank, Brandywine Realty Trust, and Newcastle County Fire Service. We are at the 300 Delaware Avenue building in Wilmington. So if you are somewhere in the city, or even if you're outside of the city, you want to come check this out, it's going to be going on all day today. We're going to be on the air at least till 5 o'clock. I'm John Busby along with Jimmy Smith from the production crew here, the University of Delaware students and staff who have done this all 3 years. As to our knowledge, we are the only ones in the country who live stream this event. A lot of states do it for a lot of different nonprofit organizations. In fact, we've got 3 nonprofit organizations who who are going to be visiting this event today to decide if they want to do it. And then we will be able to, it's just a great opportunity for people. This is something, and we always talk about the Polar Bear Plunge. That's our other big fundraising event in February. And whether, hey, should we live stream that or whatever? But the reality of it is, when you got 4,000 people running in the ocean, it's not quite as exciting to see the live stream because the chances of you seeing the person you want to see are slim to none. This event, you get to see people up close and personal because of all the cameras you've got laying around.
And from a technological standpoint, too, water does not work well with our stuff. So to get the cool shots you'd want near the ocean, we probably wouldn't be able to do that. So I know putting a camera on the top of a 250-foot building connected to a wire that runs down the side of it is nerve-wracking, but we got over that 3 years ago, and here we are. But I mean, it's. I think Polar Bear Plunge is a cool after-the-fact video event.
Yes.
Especially with GoPro technology and things like that you could wear, like wearable cameras. That makes it cool. This is a fun live thing because you're right. There's an elementary school who's going to be watching. They put their teacher over, their principal over. That's just always been the case, and I think it's cool, with the donations on the line, so to speak, that people got to see this through.
Yep.
And you're not always able to get up here at 300 Delaware Avenue to watch.
All right, we had said that Marie McIntosh and Diane Shawver are next up, but obviously that person you're looking at right now is not named Marie or Diane, would be my guess. So we are trying to, we're going to get word. We have a couple people relaying information to us so that we know that we are able to get the right name with the right person coming down. I don't want to guess. There are several men scheduled to come down right after Marie and Diane, so we will find out who that is for you, and as soon as we have that information, we will let you know.
There's a lot of people waiting right now, or yelling at the screen right now, telling us that's blank, that's blank.
And we are just waiting to find that out. That is Tom Martin, who is on the yellow. Tom Martin, and we're ahead of schedule, Jimmy.
Oh, well,
9:20. He's supposed to go
I'm
down.
assuming that Diane and Rita and Lori and Marie and
all
those that will eventually go.
That's right.
You're asking me when this will be posted?
Yeah, when this will be posted.
Probably
tomorrow?
later tonight. To be
later tonight.
Okay. Yeah. So
wonderful. And the reason I asked that, Nancy Johnson just sent me a text message from WSTW. They want to be able to catch some audio from it. And that way they will be able to play it live tomorrow. Joe Allen just went over for the second time. If you're just tuning in of the Wake Up Crew, Joe Allen and Nancy Johnson of WSTW, Delmarva Broadcasting Company, is a year-round partner of Special Olympics Delaware and a supporting sponsor of this event. As you get ready to see Tom Martin, he is on the yellow rope, which will be the left rope when they scan out and get started. This is always a great shot, I think, Jimmy, that for people to see, because this is where you see the facial expression that you're not going to see again until he lands.
Yeah, it's here you can see confidence or lack of, and then really it kind of all looks the same when you lose him from this shot here. So.
Now, Tom is very familiar with the building. He works at Veritext, V-E-R-I Text, here in the 300 Delaware Avenue building. And one of the neat things about this relationship with the 300 Delaware Avenue building, I talked about this at the cocktail reception last night, is Larry Maister, who made this all possible. He's in charge of basically who uses this building for anything. And 6 years ago, or actually it was probably 7 years ago when we started this process, as you can see Tom making those first steps down the side of the building. And this is the point of no return. You're on your way. But it's also the point where I remember from my own experience, you have complete confidence in the crew and the ropes because now you're simulating exactly what you did on the practice route.
And here's one of the harder steps, too, from memory again. Not done it myself. That step right there is not comforting for anybody. The first step over, where your feet go on the side of the building, is the first one. And that jump or drop, all bad words, I guess, though. That large step you'll take onto the glass is where I think a lot of people are like, that seems very far.
Right.
But if you look at it, it's maybe 2 feet. And then when your feet hit the glass, and you start to see how the rappel mechanism works, and you see that the one rope, the orange rope, has you in one way, and the yellow rope is a guide, a lead, a comfort, and has you in another way. it starts to go. And again, I've never done it, but that's just kind of what we've seen.
And how he lowers himself is he's got a mechanism there on his left hand. You can see him kind of holding that rope on his right hand, and he's using his left hand, and he's basically is just moving a lever, and when he moves that lever, it makes him go. So in other words, if he stops moving the lever, then he does stop until he's ready to go again. And I think that was one of the things that was most comforting for me when I went down, and for those who have done it, who are listening, probably would agree with me, is that I never felt unsafe. I honestly didn't, because if he goes too fast, he's going to lock up. They do that as a safety mechanism, and it's to keep people who, maybe think that they can go a lot faster than they should. But let's face it, no matter how fast you can go, unless you're a pro, unless you're one of the guys in the military or folks who do this for a living and really could bounce down quickly, we don't want people doing that. And so it certainly is the opportunity for them to go at their own pace, but at the same time, do it very safely.
I want to thank the 86 people watching on Ustream right now. Well, that number will fluctuate throughout the day. Up into the couple hundreds, I remember, at points last year. So
so we expect an audience that's going to bounce in and out. It's a type of the event. Nobody's tuning in at 9 o'clock and listening until 5. If you are, thank you very much. But the reality of it is that's not going to be the case. It will be people who are tuning in to see somebody go down like Tom Martin is, and then tune out and get on with their day. And that's the beauty of this broadcast, I think, because we wouldn't expect anybody to tune in that entire time. Now, Tom has done skydiving and he's done bungee jumping. This is his 5th year doing this event. His inspiration are the athletes. They fight every day for acceptance, and it's not about wins and losses in Special Olympics. It's about competing, and you can see the smile on his face. Another landing there. So Tom Martin has landed, and coming up next are going to be Marie McIntosh and Diane Shawver. So if you were worried about where they are, we know they did want to come down together. And sometimes a schedule changes up on the roof if somebody is, taking a little bit more time to get geared up, maybe doesn't arrive on time. And we do try to accommodate people when we can. And I know Diane and Marie have a close friendship, and they wanted to come down together. And that is exactly what they're going to do coming up next.
Heard in the past, I know Kayla Miller when she was still at Titus, before she joined the University of Delaware, back with the women's basketball team. She came down with her boss there at Titus, and I know that she just wanted to heckle and yell and whatever. So coming down together, sometimes it's a benefit, but sometimes if you're the less of the confident two, people will let you have it.
Yeah. So. We had a husband and wife go down at the end of media day yesterday. Ralph Citrullo, a member of our board of directors, and his wife, and they've gone down a couple times, and they kind of always joke about who's going to get down first. And I didn't get to see who landed first, but we do like when people have a good time with that. So Marie McIntosh will be heading down there. That is Marie, you see. And Marie is a retired teacher in the Christina School District, where she was a special educator to start her career and ended up being a supervisor of special education toward the end of her career. She is a member of the Special Olympics Delaware Hall of Fame. And a side story, Marie is one of the first people. I've been involved in Special Olympics for 27 years, and when I first started as a graduate student at the University of Delaware, she actually ran the first event that I ever was part of as a staff member. She was a volunteer swim coach and ran the first swim meet that I was ever part of, and that's how long she has been involved in Special Olympics. And when you talk about being involved as long as she has been, which is 30 plus years, and has no affiliation to Special Olympics, and when I use that term, what I mean is she didn't have a child with special needs, she doesn't have a relative who was in special education when she was a teacher or anything like that. She just had obviously as a teacher, she had a true passion for people who are in the special education programs in the schools, but her true passion ever since she retired, and even as she was a teacher, obviously, has been to be part of Special Olympics. She is a key person down in the Sussex County area where she has retired with the Sussex Riptide. She's one of these people that is a get-up-and-go person, and she started the cycling program down there. She started a swimming program down there. She's done a lot of different things. As you can see her getting ready to head down the side of the building, and joining her is Diane Shawver, who is going to be, that is Diane you see there, right there in your photo. she will be on the right side. You can hear the DJ in the background outside. Our broadcast booth here is actually in the bottom, not the basement, but the first floor boardroom of the building, and so we actually cannot see what's going on outside, but thanks to about 5 screens here, we don't miss a shot of what's going on, so you'll get to see Diane head down. Now, Marie, let's talk about her for a second, is what she's done. She zip-lined in Mexico. And I know she was in Mexico just a few months ago, and so I'm going to assume it was on that trip, but at some point it was on that. And Jimmy, have you ever zip-lined?
No, I've not done anything.
You need to go to that Go Ape course at Lum's
Yeah,
Pond. And, some people say that's not, it is zip-lining. I've done that, and it is fun. And it's a great course to do your first zip-lining experience, because some of these other ones, like the one I just talked about, and some of the other ones I was reading that people go on, are just – they're long, they're high, they're steep, and sometimes they're over water, and but the Go Ape one is certainly a thing. And I always felt like when I did this Over the Edge event, as you can see, Diane taking those first couple steps. Diane is a first-time rappeller. Both these folks are first-time rappellers. So you can see her not quite going down with the confidence that Mr. Martin had, and you know what? There's nothing. That's what this is all about. You're going to see people go at different speeds all day long.
This is the great neutralizer, normalizer for everybody, because I've never seen anybody just jump off and rappel all the way down. Everybody kind of does that hesitancy thing, and that's what makes it fun. And even the most athletic or even the least athletic, they all kind of just look the same.
Now, Diane's twin sons volunteer for Special Olympics also with the swimming and the biking program that Marie has started down there. They're also unified partners for swimming. The unified partner is someone without an intellectual disability who is a teammate of the Special Olympics athletes, one of the up-and-coming programs all around the country, something we've been doing here in Delaware for 30 years. We were one of the first states to do that. Now, Diane's sister, Joanne, who is 2 years older than her, had severe intellectual disability, according to her sister, and spent the first 12 years of her life living with her sister until her mom and dad died 5 months apart when she was 12, and then her sister was 14, and then the story goes on and on. So Diane has a true passion for people with intellectual disabilities, that are the Special Olympics athletes. 4,000 Special Olympics athletes here in the state of Delaware, up 300 from the year before.
By the way, how nice is it to have those that are not affiliated become affiliated? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's an incredible. There's so many other things that if something isn't grabbing at your heart, if it's not something that makes you otherwise spring into action, how nice is it to have somebody completely from the outside get involved?
And I always talk about this, when I talk to people about Special Olympics or even other things, Little League Baseball, 99% of the volunteers in Little League Baseball are involved because their kids on the team, or youth soccer, or anything else. Special Olympics, we estimate that half the people that coach in Special Olympics have no affiliation, a child involved in Special Olympics or a brother and sister. Now, the other half do. Yeah. But, again, when you think about that stat, it really is an alarming stat in a positive way.
Yeah.
And there you can see Marie McIntosh taking her first few steps. Marie's one of those people, Jimmy, and again, I've gotten to know her over these 27 years, obviously, and she's very athletic, tennis player, swimmer, does a lot of stuff for us outside of coaching. She comes to Camp Barnes every year, our summer camp down in Bethany Beach, which is right near her home, and hangs out in the kitchen working. And so she's one of these people, she'll do anything for you. And I told her this, I said, it surprises me that it took you this long to do this event, because that is the type of person she is. That, I'm surprised that she didn't jump right up and do this, and she didn't really have a good answer. She just, but it was the fact that her and Diane, and when I say good, she didn't have an answer, an exact reason as to why she hadn't done it. Part of it might be because she lives in Sussex County, and the event is up here, but we do have a large group that is going down here, and that's why Lauren Holloway from WBOC yesterday came up and was part of it on Media Day. And you might have seen it on your broadcast there as you see Marie take that step there. Now, obviously, Diane and Marie didn't agree to go down exactly at the same time, because Diane is well on her way, and Marie is inching her way down. But again, it's not a race, and we always like to reaffirm that to people and reinforce that, I should say, that it is not a race. You're not timed. It's not like when you run a 5K or a marathon, and after a certain amount of time, we're going to lower you down the rope. We let you take your time and get down. That's all part of the experience of being up that high and overlooking the city of Wilmington. And again, a lot of people, it's funny, I talk to a lot of people before they go up just to, get information about them and insights so we can talk about it on the broadcast. They've never been on top of a roof this high, let alone coming down the side of it. So, it's a brand new experience for a lot of people. Once again, if you are on Twitter and you want to give somebody a shout out, or you just want to shout out to us or somebody else who's involved in this event, even if they're not going over the edge, please use hashtag #OverTheEdgeDE, and we will make sure, or certainly do our best that we get it up for them so that when they watch it later on, they will hear your shout out to them. And you can see there, Diane, it looked like she locked up right there and got herself going again.
Oh,
and
she's in a hurry.
No, yeah, and the locking up part, you can see she's all smiles there. And I've invited both Marie and Diane, as well as all of our edgers, to come in and chat with us after they go through it so that we can talk to them and find out what their experience was like. And it's always interesting. Obviously last year was the second year we did the live stream, so we did get to talk to people who talked to us the year before, and it's always interesting to find out their viewpoints having now done it a second time. Lori Ableman and Rita Fry, Dawn Schumaker, and Phil Hagen are all coming up if you've tuned in to this 2016 broadcast live stream of the Over the Edge event to benefit Special Olympics Delaware. Those are the folks that are coming up. 78 people are going to go over the edge today, bringing the total to 87 who will have done it between Media Day yesterday and the folks coming down today. Leading into this year's event, 441 people have done this over the 5 years and raised $625,000. So when it's all said and done, without doing the math real quick, we're going to be at around 530 people having done this event, and the total money raised will be over $700,000.
That's incredible.
Not bad for a one-day event.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And on top of all the other events, the plunge and so on and so forth, it's unbelievable. Like if the things to do in Delaware are centered around Special Olympics fundraisers, whether it be the plunge or be this. So kudos to you guys for creating events that, transcend people. Like everybody wants to. I don't want to say everybody because, again, I don't want to do this.
We need you on the broadcast,
but,
Jimmy. I wouldn't let you do it even if you wanted to.
But people from all over have a connection to this, whether they do it because of somebody or they do it because of themselves as a check mark. And again, it's something that they are very interested in thrill-seeking. But, the events, the Polar Bear Plunge, everybody wants to do that. And it was really cool this year that the University of Delaware, specifically the athletic department, had their own Polar Bear Plunge up on the Harrington turf because of when it falls itself is when school's not in session. So the university had their own, and I think that was pretty well attended as well.
It was, yeah. I was at that event. It was well attended, and it's one of those events that now that we've done it, we'll improve it. There'll be more people involved and more faculty involved, hopefully, and maybe that's something we'll get you to jump in that icy pool next year.
Yeah, and maybe because it's one at a time, too, maybe that's something we could also
you're right.
negotiate.
Something to look at, right.
Bringing in this
to look at,
setup. So.
Yeah, the one-on-one stuff is definitely a plus with that. And so you see Marie McIntosh landing there, and she has zip line. Diane, her friend who she went down with, says this is a little out of her comfort zone because she gets a little nervous on roller coasters and sitting in the front seat of them, or even rock climbing on beginner mountains. So she has done the Loch Ness Monster in Busch Gardens. That's one of my favorites. And I am a roller coaster person. She said she was terrified. So we'll ask her where she ranks this event with the roller coaster once she comes in. Now that they're down, what happens is they get unhooked, obviously, and then they head right back upstairs to the 10th floor, which is where all of our edgers begin the process. You can see Marie and Diane there. A successful, friendly hug there at the end of their rappel. Not the first friends to go down together, and certainly won't be the last over the 5 years, now the 6th, or even today. So a nice job by both of them getting down there. Diane wanted to thank all of her supporters, especially her husband, who has been her biggest supporter since she met him back in 1998, what she calls the luckiest day of her life. Marie wanted to thank Shirley Malloy, Billy Gow, Kim Miller, Gloria Manube, Georgia Cooperson, and Tom Downs. They were the big supporters that helped her for that. So once again, you raise $1,100 to get the opportunity to go over the edge. And what we have found over the years is that it sounds like a lot of money, but when you tell somebody you're going over the side of the building and they can either join you or pay some money for you to go, they are usually more than happy to fork up a few bucks to come over. So we do have a couple of $2,000 fundraisers. Marie McIntosh, who is one of them, and actually Diane Shawver also. And what happens when you raise $2,000 is you get a personalized video. And so we have a video person who literally follows them around from start to finish and will create a personal video for them that they can use and show to folks who want to see them come down. So you can see Marie getting the hug there at the end from her husband and family and friends who came out to see them. And you can see the next group is up and ready to go, and we're going to find out exactly who those people are.
Reading a tag, I believe blue that's Lori Abelson, I believe. I thought I saw Lori on her tag there.
Okay. All right.
Again, I don't want to.
We'll find out. Yeah, and Lori Ableman is who
right.
it would be on my list, and we'll find out. We get a list. How with this works is we get a list of who's supposed to go down at what time on the left rope and the right rope, and then sometimes that changes throughout the event for one reason or another, as you saw right off the bat with Tom Martin, who was ready to go, and Diane and Marie were not, and so rather than hold up the event, they go ahead and they let them go forward. So whoever this is going to be coming down on the blue rope. We're waiting for Rita Fry, Lori Ableman, Dawn Schumaker. Tom Martin has already gone. So if you're waiting for any of those folks, and Tom Martin did go down a little bit earlier than scheduled, and if you tuned in to see him and missed him, you can see the rebroadcast of this entire broadcast. It will be broken up into 3 segments, so don't think you're going to have to sit down and scroll through 10 hours. But the good thing is, if you were looking for Tom Martin, tomorrow morning you can go to the SODE website, and we'll have a link directly to the tape recording of this broadcast, and you'll be able to see Tom come down. So we have now seen 4 people go down, and so that means we've got 74 more to go. Again, I'm John Busby along with Jimmy Smith. If you're just tuning in, this is the live internet stream of the 2016 Over the Edge event to benefit Special Olympics Delaware. It's the 6th annual event sponsored by TD Bank, Brandywine Realty Trust, who have been sponsors from the start, and Newcastle County Fire Service, which came on board last year as a sponsor, and it's taking place right here at the 300 Delaware Avenue building in Wilmington. 441 people in the last 5 years have raised $625,000 for Special Olympics. 4,000 athletes who compete in 20 sports year-round. Their next big event is the Summer Games on June 10th and 11th at the University of Delaware. If you are interested in volunteering for that event, email info@sode.org. And if you're not in a spot where you can write that down, just Google Special Olympics Delaware. The website will pop up, and you can get our contact information there. So, again, if you are interested in volunteering for the Summer Games on June 10th and 11th, email info@sode.org. And, again, if you are giving a shout-out to somebody on Twitter, use the hashtag #OverTheEdgeDE.
So this is Lori, and just got word that Rita Fry will be on the other side.
All right, so Lori Ableman is on the blue rope.
Yep.
And Rita Fry is on the yellow rope. Rita Fry works for the Department of Education. She's a supporter of Special Olympics. This is her 2nd year going over the edge. She's doing it because Special Olympics is a great cause, and the athletes are wonderful and supportive and thankful for all they do. As you can see, Lori making her first initial descent coming down there. Lori works at Alzufan, Austin, Tarlov, and Mundell. Another employee, along with Tom Martin, who works in this building. She works on the 17th floor, so she's getting ready to descend from base. So she looks out the window at this view all the time. That is Rita you see right there.
That doesn't mean it's okay to walk down it.
it's a little different. It's a little different when you're looking through a window. So anyway, the reason she did this is because last year she saw one of the attorneys doing it in her firm, and wanted to do it again. So it was, she interviewed for this firm. Here's a great story, Jimmy, because she saw one of the attorneys in the window when she was rappelling last year. So She had a job opportunity from this.
There you go.
What another great reason to come and do over the edge. Who knows who you're going to meet while you're rappelling down a 17-story building.
Bringing people together, right?
All right, so this is her second year. She's looking forward to not being quite as nervous. This is, again, Lori Ableman, and we've talked about that, how the more people we talk to who do it for a second time, third time, fourth time, enjoy the experience so much more because they have done it and those initial nerves aren't there that they had before. Now, I was talking to Dana McDonald, a cool 101.3, who went over for the fourth time yesterday. And here's the thing. Dana is petrified of heights. Yeah. And I told him, I said, I'm going to mention that on the air. He said, oh, trust me, I'm not ashamed of it. He does not like heights. And here he is volunteering to go over for the fourth time to represent Cool 101.3. He says, I'm still just as nervous when I start, but it does get easier every year a little bit at a time.
Look at Rita waving around. Lori is not loving this right now.
Now, they have both been skydiving before.
Okay.
And
I feel like that's like the ultimate thing.
Yep.
Maybe bungee jumping. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, well, she's bungee. Lori has bungee jumped, and Rita didn't mention it. Doesn't mean that she hasn't.
Right.
But no, I tell you, I would consider bungee jumping. I'm
Really?
not skydiving.
Really?
I'm not skydiving. I would consider bungee jumping. And again, how I look at bungee jumping is it's almost 100% guaranteed, for as much as it can be guaranteed that you're going to be safe. It's not as safe as this.
Right.
But I still think it's safer than jumping out of a plane and hoping that when you pull that cord, the parachute comes out. And so that's something I'm not doing. But I always tell people, when I meet them, if you've done skydiving, I would think this is a little bit easier. And so, but again, we'll talk to these folks when they come in here and we'll get their opinion, the comparison of it. Because I'm sure in some ways, skydiving is one of those things, once you're up in that plane, you can still back out of.
Yeah, right.
In 6 years, we've never had anybody back out of doing this. And so that is one of the neat stats about it is that, and we watched last year, Jimmy, somebody who was very scared at the top, very scared, and yet she was able to do it. They did get her to do it, as you can see Lori and Rita making their final descents here.
Yeah, look, Rita, I don't know, again, not a race, but
nope. One down.
Rita won the race that wasn't.
And they have both. This is the second year for both of them, and both actually mentioned in their bios that we asked for as Lori has landed. And Lori did start first. And so she is able to get down, so you can see getting her all unattached, and she will head back up. And each of the edgers, we ask for a bio from them, and like any time you do that, you're going to get different information. I got 3 pages on one person. I've got a couple blank forms. That's just the reality of it when you ask for that information. So if you're wondering why we give out a lot more information on one person and not so much on another, it's purely the amount of information that we are given. This building is 17 stories, 222 feet. And again, the process for these folks who go over the edge is they check in an hour before their scheduled time. They head up to the 10th floor, which is a vacant office building, or an office area, I should say. There's not offices up there. It's a wide open spot, so it's perfect for what we need. There they are checked in, they get their safety gear on, and they get trained while they're up there in that office building. And then they go up onto the roof. They're escorted up there where there's a one-story, it's not a building, it's a structure with a ladder that they climb up. And then they are able to get that feeling of what it's like to go over the edge. And so one of those things that it's a practice round is basically what it is. And so there is a process for that to happen, and that is the process that they go over when they are doing that till they finally get up to the top of the roof. And one thing that we are told over and over and over is that they, the techs that do this just do an incredible job with making people feel secure and how they feel when they finally do go over the edge. Joining us is Marie McIntosh and Diane Shawver. We're going to start with Marie, and then we'll have her turn the headset over there. Marie, your first time. How was it?
It was great.
Yeah, good
Coming
time.
back next year.
Good time. Joe, coming back next year. We always like that. We got registration forms here somewhere. We just need a check and you'll be all set. But no, seriously. Now, let me ask you this, Marie, and you might have a good reason. I was talking to Jimmy, and you'll hear it when you watch the tape of this. You know, you play tennis, you swim. You know, you're the kind, you do the bungee, not the
zip lining.
Zip lining, thank you, on there when you were in Mexico. Why did it take 5 years for you to do this?
Because every year this is the week. This is the week that I'm in the Bahamas on vacation.
Oh, so you blew off your vacation this year to do Over the Edge.
I did.
Now, I won't mention that you were in Mexico a few weeks, or you were somewhere a few weeks ago
That was
for
in
a vacation.
February.
Oh, is that long ago? Jeez. So anyway, you know, exciting that you finally did it. And you know, what was the most nerve-wracking part of the rappel?
Actually going over the edge.
That first step.
That first step.
Now, I understand they're giving you a choice this year to go, what we've been saying face first, but we don't like using that term. Face out is what we're going to use. Or like you did, where you step off the back of the building, or you step off backwards, which is what I did last year when I did it. What made you decide to go backwards?
Well, I couldn't reach those bars.
Yep, the
because,
tripods.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bump it. Because so I had to sort of climb up that way, and I thought, there is no way now that I'm turning around. I'm just doing it this way.
Now, do you think next year you'll do it the same way?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So when did you feel the most comfortable on the way down?
When did I feel once I got off that edge?
Right.
I mean, you're never really quite comfortable. Well, I'm never really quite comfortable, you know, but yeah, just once I got over that edge, that was just a good thing.
Then you were good to go. You were good to go.
And when I twirled around, that was sort of nerve-wracking. The twirling around, you didn't get to see that. I don't think you saw that. I for some reason, twirled around and I was looking out. And then I thought, well, I just got to keep going here.
You got the view. You got the view that way. That's funny. Now, you've been involved in Special Olympics how many years?
40-something.
Has it been that long? Yeah. I knew it was long before I got here, which was 27 years ago. What has been the biggest change in the organization over those years in terms of the athletes and their abilities as athletes? Because I know I've seen it change as we've gotten more serious, and I say that in a good way, as to what our athletes are able to do.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, we can watch the tennis athletes, the swimmers, of course, and we can see how much they have improved and how much more social everyone has become. You know, and that's the part that I really like a lot, and that's a big change. I mean, you just, but the ability itself and just the camaraderie, I can't tell you. I mean, it's just, we truly are there for the athletes.
We were talking about how you volunteered up here for years, the first 30 of those 40 at least, and now you've retired downstate, and you've been very key in getting the Sussex Riptide program up and running and building it. Cycling, swimming, other sports. What's your favorite?
I like cycling and the tennis, of course. I like them all, actually, but cycling and tennis are my favorites.
Outdoor sports.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, well, Marie, we can't thank you enough for being part of Special Olympics, obviously, all these years. And then Summer Games coming up June 10th and 11th in a few weeks, so you'll be back up here. And that's an opportunity for people, if they really want to see what this organization does for these athletes, is to come out to the Summer Games, either as a volunteer or just to come out and see it all about. You'll be at the tennis venue for that, as you have been for years. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Diane Shawver, welcome
to
the program. And coming down, Jimmy, we've got Dawn Schumaker coming down on the yellow rope, and we're going to talk to Diane here in just a second. Dawn Schumaker is coming down. And now, Diane, you had a sister who had an intellectual disability, so you kind of have a passion for what we do. Everybody has a passion for what we do. You have a direct for that. What made you decide to come down and rappel down this building?
Well, I am a friend of Marie's, and my twin sons volunteer with Special Olympics, and they're also unified swimmers, and they'll actually be at the Summer Games in June swimming with the athletes. Great. And my sister, it was a complicated relationship, you know, growing up. My parents, our parents died when we were kids, and my sister passed away, and I just felt like I wanted to do something in memory of my sister. And when Marie asked me, I immediately said, okay. And then this morning I was like, oh my God, what am I doing?
I'm here.
I'm scared to death.
That's Dawn Schumaker coming down right now. This is her 3rd year coming down. She is a 10-year polar bear, so she takes part in the organization's biggest event, the Polar Bear Plunge, the first Sunday of every February. Now that you've done it, would you do it again? Not to put you on the spot, but
absolutely.
Marie's saying yes. I
would do it again. My biggest thing was like trusting that
right.
everything was connected properly.
Yes.
But once I got going, it was smooth and awesome.
Let me ask you about your kids who are unified partners. My son, who's now 24, one of my 3 sons, was a unified partner when he was 8 to 12, 13 years old, and I know the impact it had on his life. I think it's one of the most valuable experiences school-age kids especially can experience, and whenever I talk to groups, I talk about it like ice skating. The reason 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds ice skate so well is because they don't know any better. They don't have any fears.
Right.
They get on the ice and they just take off. We're smart enough as adults not to try to learn how to ice skate or downhill ski, in my case, at the ages that we are. But if these kids are able to make friendships with people with disabilities, any disability, they don't know any difference.
Exactly.
They don't know that they're just friends.
Exactly.
And have you seen that with your kids?
Absolutely. And the world would be a better place if more people did this.
Yes.
And
what a better way to learn, and it's not even really a lesson, but to have an experience playing sports.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a lot of things you could do that would be difficult to do
Yeah.
for people. And then here you have an opportunity to play sports and have fun and get that lifetime
And also
experience.
just, it's the camaraderie, it's the helping and, cheering and, it really becomes very family-like.
That's great. Well, thank you again for going
Thank
over
you.
the edge. We hope to see you back again next year with Marie. Thanks for wearing
Absolutely.
pink. It was very clear to see you on the broadcast there. Thanks for stopping by, ladies. Enjoy the rest of the day. The pressure's off now. You can go and relax. Dawn Schumaker is coming down. And again, this is her 3rd year. And she is on that yellow rope making her way down. And she says she couldn't have done this without the support of her families and friends. So thank you to Marie and Diane for stopping by. Again, if you are tweeting to us, use hashtag #OverTheEdgeDE. Go Lori. Christina F. tweeted out, go Lori, somebody rooting for Lori who landed a couple of minutes ago. If you haven't checked out the video that Amy Cherry did yesterday, DJ McIntosh from WDEL went over the edge on Media Day, and Amy Cherry just put together an incredible video. She's obviously very talented at what she does, but it's on the WDEL website, and it was just great to watch that and see it, and it's an opportunity for you to see the experience from start to finish. What we're showing you is from the time they get harnessed up on the roof and they land. What Amy was able to capture is literally DJ from the moment he walked into this building and till when he landed, and then even a little bit afterwards. So just a really neat thing that they did. This is the 2016 live stream of the Over the Edge event to benefit Special Olympics Delaware, the 6th annual event. That's Dawn Schumaker, who has just landed. We have people, if you just tuned in, Phil Hagen's coming up, Rosemarie VanDorpe, Susan Forbes, Chip Thompson, Linda DiMarino, Mike Laureano, all coming up here in the next several minutes here. You can see 2 people harnessed up there. Rosemarie is going to be on the blue rope. And Phil Hagen is going to be on the yellow rope.
You got it.
So we've got Phil Hagen on yellow and Rosemarie VanDorpe on blue. Both scheduled to rappel at 9:30. So we're not really running behind schedule because we had a couple people who went over when they weren't, I don't want to say when they weren't supposed to, earlier than they were scheduled to go. So we are pretty much right on time if you're wondering where we are in that process.
You see there, Dawn getting the post-game interview from some friends and family, using a lot of demonstrative hand gestures, explaining how it felt, I guess. And all smiles, so that's how you know it went well.
That's good, yeah. It's always good when they're smiling at the end. And as you heard, Marie and Diane, first-time rappellers, they're going to be coming back next year for that. So Phil Hagen and Rosemarie VanDorpe coming down. Phil on the right, as you see it. Rosemarie on the left. Phil is from downstate. He works for the Lewis Technology Consulting and the Sands Institute. He volunteers with Waggies by Maggie and Friends, a dog biscuit company that was started by a group of folks and employs our Special Olympics athletes. I should say employs people with intellectual disabilities who happen to be our Special Olympics athletes. They are the bakers of them. Phil is a repeat edger. This is actually going to be his 4th time that he is going over the edge.
I didn't like that shot right there. That was a little...
I looked away. What was it?
Straight up in the air.
Oh, you just got nervous, that's all.
Well,
you're reaffirming why you're not doing this.
Yeah, I just... Nina, one of our staff members here this morning, she shared a video of her approaching the edge, and then she kind of swung her camera over nothing. And like, I'm not there, but...
I think they do that to tease you.
They figured it out by now. Nina's been here all 3 years, so she knows.
So she knows. Nina was talking about going over next year on Media Day.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we normally, we work the full day, and then we came up and set up last night. So I hope to give her that opportunity next year.
But we have a 5:30 slot, so she could.
It's got her name on it, I guess.
Pull that off, I think, as you see Phil making that first step backwards, along with Rosemarie. And as you heard Marie McIntosh and Diane say, that is the first step is a doozy, for lack of a better word, and I can tell you that from my personal experience as well. Phil going down for the 4th time, and Rosemarie going down for the 1st time. So an interesting combination here.
Yeah. Well, Phil looks a little more confident.
Now, Rosemarie has never done anything crazy. She said, this is it. And she said that with explanation points, so this is the craziest. And you can see she's pulling on that lever, and we talked about that a little bit earlier, but the edger had his back to us when Tom Martin went down. And that left hand controls how fast you go. And basically, if you don't pull, you don't move. And so the lighter you pull it, the slower you go. And now I can tell you from experience, she's already beyond the worst part, because she is relying solely on the rope to keep her hanging on.
Yeah, I think the other part, though, too, is her feet right now are parallel with Earth, and they're about to not be. So that I think the transition from like this to like this is where it gets a little more. Right. You got to trust a little more, I guess.
That is a picture of Elizabeth Nolan, a Special Olympics athlete. She actually works for the Maggie and Friends company, or Waggies by Maggie and Friends, I should say. And she is kind of a, we'll call them a guest rope holder. They're not in the bullpen area, but Elizabeth, of course, is friends with Phil Hagen because of his involvement with this. Now, Phil, on the other hand, where Rosemarie hasn't done anything daring before, Phil has done skydiving and he's done scuba diving. Now, some people may just have joined us, and I've already declared I will never skydive. I'm going to assume you won't either, Jimmy, or have no interest,
no.
I should say.
But I'm waiting for you to ask me about scuba diving.
Now, that was my next question. That was a good lead-in, as you see Phil going down on the left and Rosemarie going down on the right. Scuba diving. I'm going to be honest with you. I get nervous snorkeling in the neighborhood pool. So I would imagine scuba diving is never going to be something that I am interested in. You, I'm going to assume, have done it.
I've not scuba. I've snorkeled in reefage, man-made reef.
Were there sharks in that reefage? Potential for sharks.
Yes.
That counts for me.
But not – so, like, when I was younger, I wanted to be a marine biologist.
Okay.
So I feel like I have a better understanding of ocean creatures and like maybe a trust, I would say. So, yeah, I will definitely, when I have an opportunity to full-blown scuba, I will.
You will.
I'm not going to go like where it's dark and you need a light.
You're not going to go on one of those safari scuba
but
trips.
I would love to like swim with dolphins or swim with whales with scuba gear on, or what, I feel comfortable, and I've never done it, but I think I'd feel kind of comfortable with that. It'd be fun too. I think that's an unbelievable, like there's a whole nother world, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, no, that is cool, right. And I'm going to ask you later, one of our people has gone swimming, swim's probably not the right word, gone swimming with sharks. and I'm hoping they come on afterwards because I need more information about that to continue to convince myself why exactly.
Or were you with like sharks that are not going to do very much
by yourself, accidentally swimming with sharks? So anyway, Phil going down. Phil Hagen on the left, Rosemarie VanDorpe on the right. Rosemarie is a retired banker. Her sister-in-law, Christine and Denise, both are volunteers at Waggies. And she wanted to give a special shout-out to Mark Kelly, Cody Dewey, and Jane DeRosa. Again, if you want to give a shout-out, Dr. Mark Brainard has just sent out a tweet to #OverTheEdgeDE. He's getting ready to go do this. He is the president of Delaware Tech, and he is going over the edge, and that's a neat story that I'm going to save for when we talk to somebody from Delaware Tech as they are going down. As you can see, Phil Hagen getting close to the edge. Rosemarie moving right along. Not bad for somebody who has never done it before.
No.
She said she was, it's her first time going over. She wanted to challenge herself in some small way to honor the Special Olympics athletes and the families who meet their challenges every day. She wanted to thank her family and friends who are supporting them. The fundraising efforts for Phil, a lot of the instructors from the Sands Institute donated to his campaign this year, and he appreciated that. And, of course, Phil has done the skydiving and the scuba diving. And I'd like to talk to Phil afterwards only because he's now done it for 4 times. And so it was a very neat opportunity for him to continue to support Special Olympics Delaware. 4,000 athletes compete in 20 sports year-round. We have some soccer events going on at schools throughout the state. A couple done and a couple more to come. Our young athletes events in schools for children ages 2 to 7 are kicking off around the state and going through that. The summer games coming up June 10th and 11th involves more than 2,000 people between the athletes, the coaches, and the volunteers as Rosemarie makes that final descent and lands, and you can kind of see a smile but a sigh of relief at the same time.
She sank into those knees a little bit. That was relief.
We mentioned the supporters of this event, Delaware Law Enforcement for Special Olympics being one of them. This year is the 30th torch run that will happen. It kicks off June 8th down in Rehoboth Beach at the bandstand. They have a special ceremony at 7 o'clock. If you're in that area that night, again, that's Wednesday, June 8th, or even if you're not in the area, I can tell you it's worth the trip down. I've made the trip a couple times just to watch the event. They have a kickoff ceremony at 7 o'clock. There's a motorcycle, a motorcade, and cars as the torch begins. It's 160-mile trek up north to the Summer Games. And back for the first time in, I think, 10 years is the Bike Prologue. It's a 17-mile family-friendly bike ride that includes going over the Indian River Inlet Bridge. And it's a great way to not only support an organization, it's a fun, reasonable distance for a bike ride. You know, you pay the $25, I think it is, to be part of this event. And you want to get, you don't want to go 3 miles when you're paying that type of money. So you get to go 17 miles.
Wow.
And it's a police-supported event. It'll be a nice ride. I know my son wants to go out and do it. He loves the bike ride.
You guys bike a lot,
We do.
I see,
Yeah. My younger son. My older son, my 9-year-old, bikes to appease me. Or when there's when the other choice is you can either go biking with us or go grocery shopping with your mother, he tends to go biking with us. But my younger son just loves the bike all the time, so we are probably going to
I hate
down.
the grocery store, too. So.
That's right. We're probably going to go down and do that. For more information about either of those events or Special Olympics in general, if you want just information about how you could become a coach, volunteer needs that we have, or if you're listening to this and you're thinking, you know what, I have a child, I have a friend who probably would want to be a Special Olympics athlete or a unified partner, as Diane talked about her kids being, you can visit our website at SODE.org. So Rosemarie and Phil have both landed. And so if you're just tuning in and you're waiting for who's coming up next, Susan Forbes, Chip Thompson, Linda DiMarino, Mike Laureano, Carol Percy, and Hank Tomczyk are all scheduled to be going over the edge here shortly. Scheduled to come in that order. May or may not happen with that order, but what I can guarantee you is all of those names I just read off will be coming down the edge sometime in the next half hour. Special Olympics athlete there getting a hug.
That's my favorite camera angle. Sometimes I think it's the top, but that angle right there that gets all that emotion is that's definitely the one right there.
And that's Mary Ann Nolan, who I mentioned Elizabeth Nolan a little bit earlier. Mary Ann is one of the most supportive parents you could ever ask for in Special Olympics. She is the mother of Elizabeth Nolan, and so she is here supporting on the people who are going down, supporting the Waggies Dog Biscuit program for that. Again, I'm John Busby along with Jimmy Smith. Jimmy heads up the production team here, which is made up of University of Delaware students and employees that have been some who have been on this broadcast before and some who have not. And Jimmy, at some point, you know what, why don't you go right now? It's a good time. Tell us the people who are a part and what they're doing specifically. I know they bounce around throughout the day.
Yeah, they'll bounce around because of just giving them the opportunity to do some different things here. Brad Wallach's here to my right. He's directing and outside on cameras. That camera right now, that's Nina Raspa. She's been here for all 3 years. And then this camera angle, that's Katie Snyder, who's up top. And then the far side camera angle, this is Richie Raspa, the younger brother of Nina.
So, just a great crew you have put together. And one of the things that amazed me, I asked you, one of my former students from the university I know was on your crew when she was as a student. And I asked, well, what's she doing? Well, she's the head of multimedia at Lehigh University.
Yeah.
She's got to be, 24 years old, maybe?
Maybe,
And then you rattled off where all of your folks have gone over the year, and just a very impressive list of where these kids, when you have them, at least when you start, have gone on to go. And you guys were nominated for an Emmy this past year.
Yep.
And what was that for exactly?
So we did a mini documentary about Pro Day last year, which for the Blue Hens on the football side, that was really headed up by Nick Boyle, who went on to get drafted in the 4th round by the Ravens. And so we just did a piece basically from walking in the door till running and jumping and being timed and all that, and some interviews with guys that had done it before, like Zach Kerr, who plays for the Colts, Marcus Burley, who plays for the Seahawks. So it was a really cool documentary, a lot of, experimental camera angles and things like that, and we were nominated by the Mid-Atlantic Emmys, and we were the only university nominated. We were also the only student production nominated for the professional category. There is a student category.
Right.
We did not do that. We went right to the professional
I didn't
category.
know that.
We lost to 5. Well, we didn't come in 6th place, but everyone else in the category was Comcast pieces.
Wow.
So, Comcast Philly professional pieces against University of Delaware students. So, our Hensel Access crew is really, really great. And Nina was in the group. Now she's full-time as my assistant. As you mentioned, Jess at Lehigh. Have some other guys at St. John's, the Phillies, the American East Conference, the CAA, others in TV and radio throughout the country. So, hands-on experience, obviously.
Yeah, right.
So a cool opportunity for them to get that experience.
That is great, and they're used to doing the commercials. You do a lot of the home games. They get to do that, but this is one of those experiences they're probably not going to get anywhere else.
No,
so it is. We're kind of glad we can be part of that, and they do such a great job. It's a tremendous production to put this together. I posted a couple pictures of what we have just sitting here. We've got 6 computers going. We've got talking boards and soundbite. We got all kinds of things going. In fact, we're getting ready to show a commercial. We've got some commercials loaded. Looking at that last picture on the roof, there's nobody set to go. And one thing we're very careful of is none of these commercials will be long because we don't want to miss anybody. We've promised you that even if we're not for some reason talking exactly about the person coming down because we have somebody that we're interviewing, you will at least get to see the person coming down. So right before we break here, Susan Forbes, Chip Thompson, Linda DiMarino, Mike Laureano, Carol Percy, and Hank Tomczyk are all in queue, meaning they're up there. They're in the middle of training and will be coming down soon. You are listening to the 2016 Over the Edge event to benefit Special Olympics Delaware, the live stream. I'm John Busby along with Jimmy Smith. This is the 6th annual event leading up to today. 441 edgers raising $625,000. 87 people will have gone over the edge by the end of today and raised well over $700,000. We'll have those official numbers for you before we get off the air today. It will also be on the website tomorrow. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more edgers coming down for Special Olympics Delaware.
If human achievement can be determined not by speed or strength, but by character, then it's easy to see who the most amazing athletes really are. Be a fan of dignity, acceptance, and the human race. Volunteer, coach, or compete in Special Olympics. Special Olympics. Be a fan.
I used to never really talk. Ever. I was scared and shy. It was hard to look at people's faces. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. I made friends and won lots of gold medals. But I learned more than just playing golf. Special Olympics helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
It was senior year and the whole school was cheering for her. And just seeing the smile on her face, people were crying and people were cheering. Seeing how the whole school came together just for her was the most amazing thing ever.
Special Olympics is acceptance.
Joy.
Respect.
It made me feel better about myself, being around thousands of people just cheering me on, and it was a fun experience, trust me.
Special Olympics is about life and being accepted by everybody.
Special Olympics is health.
Education.
Sports. It's made me who I am today. It's made me more outgoing. It's made me just more of a genuine person.
When I got involved with Special Olympics, it kind of like brought me out of my shell.
And it's not about disabilities, but it's about celebrating their abilities.
When I was in 4th grade, my teacher told me she would never answer my questions because I had too many, and I was too dumb to understand the answers anyways. After joining Special Olympics, I know that's not the case. I am just as smart as anyone else.
It's helped me a lot to be fearless, in the real world.
Special Olympics is community.
Special Olympics is friendship.
My friends I've made through Special Olympics are the best people I've ever met in my life.
It had gave me a chance to meet new people from different states.
And you just gain an entire family of new friends.
Special Olympics is dignity.
Justice.
Empowerment.
I truly realize that what I'm doing is for a great cause.
I could spend all my time just working with Special Olympics, and I would love every second of it.
It makes you feel like a wonderful person, and your life changes forever.
I've made a difference. Now it's your turn to make a difference.
We are champions together.
Making a difference every day.
Teaches us. When we train, it teaches us to dream. When we struggle, it teaches us determination. When we win, it teaches us joy. And if we lose, sport teaches us the will to try again. Sport teaches us who we really are. Who can benefit most from this lesson? Those of us who are told most frequently that we can't. Those of us who are labeled most often by others. Those of us who are judged most unfairly and told that we are this or that. Sport teaches people who they really are, and we teach people sport. We're Special Olympics. Founded by Eunice Kennedy Shriver in 1968, we provide millions of athletes with intellectual disabilities in more than 170 countries the opportunity to experience all the empowering benefits of sport. With over 44,000 competitions a year and World Games every 2 years. And though it all starts with sports, Special Olympics is much more. We're a network of families who share information, understanding, and support. We're Special Olympics Healthy Athletes, the largest provider of free health services for people with intellectual disabilities. We're volunteers and builders of communities, reaching and helping people who would otherwise be forgotten in some of the most neglected areas of the world. We're bridge builders, helping to forge relationships and acceptance between our athletes and young people without intellectual disabilities, teaching them to become leaders in their own right. We're champions and advocates for learning, research, and policy changes across the globe. Most importantly, we're also a catalyst for social change. Because once you see what our athletes are capable of, you start to lose your preconceptions. So sport teaches people who they really are, and we teach people sports. But in the end, it's really they who teach us all. Special Olympics. Be a fan.
Welcome back to the live internet stream of the 2016 Over the Edge event to benefit Special Olympics Delaware. I'm John Busby along with Jimmy Smith, the executive producer of our production here for the third straight year. This sixth annual event, sponsored by TD Bank, Brandywine Realty Trust, and Newcastle County Fire Service, is taking place at the 300 Delaware Avenue building in Wilmington, Delaware. In addition to those sponsors, supporting sponsors include Delaware Law Enforcement for Special Olympics, Sheraton Suites, Wilmington Downtown, and Delmarva Broadcasting Company. Several radio personalities went over the edge yesterday. Dana McDonald of Cool 101.3 for the fourth time. Ashley Reed of Eagle 97.7. Tom Schultz, 97.1 The Wave. Lauren Holloway of WBOC and DJ McEnany for WDEL. And this morning, kicking things off, Joe Allen from the WSTW Wake Up Crew rappelled down at 8:50 a.m. It was actually the second time he went down. We think it was year 2 that he went down as a member of the media, going today as a member of the Wake Up Crew, a position he started several months ago. Nancy Johnson joined him on a live remote today, and so we appreciate them doing that for us here and spreading the word about this great event. On the rope, you have Susan Forbes.
No, I'm sorry. That's my fault.
No problem at all.
Carol Percy.
Carol Percy.
Jumping a little out of order here.
Yeah, so, if you're waiting to see Susan, she is coming. Linda DiMarino will be up, Mike Laureano, but we have Carol Percy up on the rope right now. I can tell you, if you were tuning in to see Chip Thompson, he will not be going down. He was not able to make it, a last-minute change of his schedule, we're assuming. And so if you are tuned in to see him, certainly we invite you to stay on board with us here and watch Carol Percy come down. Carol is a teacher at the Meadowood School, which is a school that has a population of children with special needs. They've been a long-time program in Special Olympics Delaware. Their program director, Mary Moore, is in our Hall of Fame. Carol Percy is one of the folks that coaches the students who are there. She's actually a para-educator in the Meadowood program for 15 years, and she has coached several sports for Special Olympics. She has gone down before. This is her second year. We've had a mix so far this morning since we went on the air at 8:50. A couple first-timers, a couple second-timers. Phil Hagen going down for the fourth time, and so a little bit of a variety. And like a lot of people, the inspiration for Carol is the students that she teaches, the athletes that she coaches. She loves to see when they get medals and how proud they are of that. She didn't list any other daring or crazy activities she participated in, but obviously this would count as one of them, and she is a repeat edger. She'd like to thank everyone who donated to make this happen, especially my family for their generous donations of money and support. So Carol Percy, she was scheduled to go down at 10 a.m. It is 10:10 a.m., so she is going down exactly on time here. We have some TD Bank employees coming up who are going down. We have some folks from Delaware Tech. They actually used the opportunity to celebrate. They wanted to do 50 things of service to celebrate their 50th anniversary, and this is one of them. And their president is going to be going over the edge, Dr. Brainard. And we're going to have Jerry McNesby, who is a parent of a Special Olympics athlete, also works at Delaware Tech, who is going to join us on the air when those folks go over and talk a little bit more about what this event means to him personally as the father of a Special Olympics athlete. I'm sorry, not father, brother of a Special Olympics athlete, and what Special Olympics has meant to his family over the years. So 87 people are going to go over this, go down this building, the 300 Delaware Avenue building. As you can see, Carol make her final descent. She is done for year number 2. We saw in the bleachers earlier there were some students and some teachers and other faculty members, staff members from the Meadowood program who are in those bleachers there. One of the neat things about this event, Jimmy, that's been kind of cool is that we've gone from 1 set of bleachers to 2 set of bleachers and now 3 sets of bleachers.
Yeah, we had to slide the camera down a little bit, too, to get the bleachers oriented and put in place. So
the event has grown, and I misspoke last time, but Mike Laureano is scheduled to go down, and so I'm kind of edging that is him. There could also be Hank Tomczyk.
That's who I was told.
Okay, so it is Hank Tomczyk. Jimmy gets the official word, and so that is Hank Tomczyk getting ready to come down there on the yellow rope, which will be the rope on your left when you get to see that up close. And we don't have a whole lot of biographical information on Hank. What I can tell you is that he is the parent of a Special Olympics athlete. His son Ziggy has been in our program for several years. Hank also coaches. His wife, Jane, is very involved in our program as well. And so you're going to see a wide range and mix of people who go over the edge. Every year we have a couple people who have no affiliation whatsoever to Special Olympics. They just always wanted to rappel down the side of the building, and as we talked about, if you've got that on your bucket list or on your desire to do, this is the only game in town. Once a year, always the second Thursday to do it. Hank Tomczyk is probably on about floor number 16 right now. A little distracting for the folks working in those offices on this day. But the generosity of this 300 Delaware Avenue building is really something that we continue to talk about. Without that, you don't do an event like this.
Right.
As Jimmy mentioned earlier, they anchor these ropes at the top with cement anchors. They did that 7 years for us so that we could have our first event, and they keep them up there obviously year-round, and it just really is a production. The Over the Edge techs do a great job when they are here with us for the couple days. They drive or fly in on Wednesday, and then we have a media day yesterday where the local personalities I just mentioned, TV and radio, and sometimes newspapers. Just ironically, no newspaper folks did it this year, but hey, have done it in the past. You can see Hank's experienced. I know this is it's not his first time, as you heard me say. I also know it's not his second, so he might be one of those people that have done it 3 or 4 years. That's Chris Truano you see in that picture there close up. He is going to go over the edge later on. He's a Special Olympics athlete. Last year he was the highest fundraiser of all the people who go over the edge. We've had an athlete go over the edge the last 4 years, at least one athlete. We have 2 going over today. And so along with Chris will be Marissa Hammond. And I think, Jimmy, a lot of people think that, well, they make up spots for those Special Olympics athletes. That's not the case. Nope. They have to raise the money. And that is a requirement, and we've been very clear about that from the get-go. And that's the same whether it's the Polar Bear Plunge, the Reindeer Run, Over the Edge, or any other fundraising event that we do. If our athletes want to be part of it, they need to do what everybody else does. They always say we just want to be treated like everybody else, and that's what we do. We require them to raise the money. And it really goes back to our athletes are not sitting around waiting for help. They're not asking for people to give handouts and give them things. They want to be part of everything that we do. And it is really neat for me to see them when they do something like that and raise $1,100 or even more, as was the case with Chris Truano last year, and know that it's going to support their teammates. Yeah. And it really is a neat thing that they're giving back to their own organization.
Yeah, to have them raise the money and then raise the most, I think that's just a kind of testament to what they mean to their community and what they mean to, or vice versa even,
And there is Ziggy, Hank's son, Ziggy Tomczyk. He does a lot of different Special Olympics events. And you can see Chris Truano there also congratulating him. Chris looks pretty calm for somebody who's going to rappel 17 stories later on today. And so I'm trying to look up here exactly when he is going down. He's going down at 1:30, so he has a little ways to go. My guess is, we talked about this earlier in the broadcast, that I don't think it matters how many times you do this. I've only done it once, so I haven't had that second time around experience. The people that have done it more than once tell us it's less nerve-wracking the second time, because it is you get over that initial fear of, geez, am I going to fall?
Yeah.
And as I've said, one of the great things about this event is there's been a 100% success rate. They've done these events for 8 years all over the country, actually all over North America. And so they've had a 100% success rate. The technicians are wonderful at what they do. And so it just really is a great opportunity for somebody if you always wanted to rappel. Maybe you wanted to rock climb. Rock climbing makes me a little bit nervous because you're usually tethered by somebody up top and maybe somebody down the bottom, or maybe you've got a rock that you've bolted something into. I just don't trust it as much as I do being bolted into the cement of a building with all kinds of systems in place for that. So who do we got coming up next, Jimmy?
Well, that's Linda DiMarino.
All right.
There. And I believe the other one's going to be Mike Laureano.
All right, so Linda DiMarino is on the yellow rope.
Yep.
She works for TD Bank, and so does Mike Laureano, so that makes sense. We mentioned sometimes they go out of order because you have two people who do want to go down together, which is the case here. And so if you tuned in to watch Susan Forbes go down, she is going to go down. Very well could be after these folks. But the person she was scheduled to go down with, Chip Thompson, was unable to make it at the last minute, and so that might have been why they juggled the lineup a little bit. But if you're tuning in to see Susan Forbes, you didn't miss her. If you've tuned in to see somebody who has gone down, and I'm not going to read all the names, but I can tell you we're pretty much right on schedule.
Yep.
So if you tuned in to see somebody who was supposed to go at 9:30 or 9:45 and you're hoping we're running a little bit late, we're not running late. But the good news is Jimmy puts this together. He pieces it in 3 different sections, so you don't have to search for the 8 hours of the broadcast to figure out who is where, and you will be able to get it on the SODE website as late as tonight, but let's say by tomorrow morning for sure, that you will be able to see these come down. So
these are big files, John, so
yes.
they take a little bit to get on the internet.
And I've experienced that firsthand as well. So joining us here on the headset is going to be David Hagen. Did I pronounce that right, David?
You did. Wonderful.
All right,
job.
good. Hagen. I was hoping I got that right last night as well as tonight. He is the Regional Vice President for the Delaware region of TD Bank, and they've got 2 folks going over, Michael Laureano, who is one of 4 people who has gone over all 6 years that we've done this. And then joining him is Linda DiMarino, who, ironically, has never done this before. She looks pretty calm.
She looks very calm, which is amazing because rumor has it that she gets a little nervous riding up an elevator. So
maybe she doesn't get nervous going down the elevator.
Yeah,
maybe
not.
that's it,
But she looks very calm.
She does. For somebody who's going by, and it's funny we always say this, that we've been doing the production for 3 years, and the people outside don't get the shots that you just saw, where you literally get to see the face of the person before they make that final dip over the side of the building. And so it's always neat for us to see what that face looks like. And no matter how many times they've done it, they always look a little bit nervous. Now, have you done this?
I've done it twice. Yes,
okay.
I did it last year and the prior year.
And so what, run the people who are listening here, they're tired of hearing me talk about my experience. what they're going through their mind right now as they make those first couple steps down?
Once you lean back and you can actually feel the harness kind of take over, then it feels a little, I guess, more natural is a good way to say it. Prior to that, there's nothing natural about it. So it is frightening going over for the first time.
All right, second time, a little easier?
Second time, maybe a little easier, not much, but a little easier. I think Mike, Mike clearly is a heck of a guy. He's done this. This will be his 6th year, as you mentioned earlier. So, I can guarantee you can hear everything that goes on up there.
Right.
So you can talk to each other. And I imagine right now Mike is talking to Linda and really walking her down the side of the building.
And it kind of looks like that they're trying to stay together,
yes.
Which sometimes is easier said than done, as I experienced when I was up there with somebody else. And So, that's it. Now let's talk about TD Bank's involvement. Supporters and sponsors of this event from the start. And then you guys hosted the cocktail reception last night for the Edgers and their guests. You're hosting a huge festival outside today, which I'm hoping to get out and see at some point during one of the commercial breaks. And, and so it's just a real neat thing that TD Bank does at this event. But your involvement in Special Olympics goes beyond just what's going on here today.
Indeed, yeah. Bank-wide, which is really Maine to Florida, we've taken on a leadership position to help raise funds as well as awareness, and that's not only, as mentioned last night, not only in terms of real dollars, which it is real dollars. It's about $7.5 million over the last 7 years, but and hopefully going stronger and continuing that to be about $1 million a year. But also to the, as you can see with Mike and Linda here, through volunteer hours and through people. And so Mike and Linda both had to raise, as you probably have told your audience, $1,100 or more to actually do this, and so the people are engaged. The firm is engaged. And it's just fantastic to work with Ann and yourself and the entire team over here at Special Olympics of Delaware. Because as I mentioned last night, you guys make it so easy to get involved. I had myself and my family get involved, over the summer for the volunteering of powerlifting and spotting. So it was fantastic to see the athletes and how intense they are and how much weight they can lift.
Oh, it is unbelievable, isn't it?
It is humbling, yes. So, but with TD, it's one of our key tenets, one of our core principles is to give back into the communities to which we live, work, and play. And again, you guys just make it so easy. So that's Patty. We're actually at Patty's store on the left-hand side.
Okay.
That's Patty. And to the right is actually Vimbai. And she's going to be going. She's a TD banker as well. She's out of Maryland.
Okay.
So she came up from Maryland to do this. She's going to go down at 3:30 this afternoon.
Okay, I was going to say I think I recognized that name when I was going through the bios.
Yes, yes. So she'll be coming down this afternoon, and she's been volunteering. She used to be in this region and then moved down to Bowie, Maryland, to run a store. So a great opportunity for her. And she's coming back every year to help out.
That's neat. One of your branch managers, Jess DuBois, Jessica from down in Rehoboth Beach, actually headed up our young athletes program. Her daughter's a Special Olympics athlete, a 2-year-old, just the sweetest little thing.
Little lady.
Beautiful girl. And so, again, your employees not only doing things just to do them, so to speak, they're doing them because they're inspired by our Special Olympics athletes.
Absolutely.
Now, I know you wanted to get outside to say hello. I don't want you to miss that, so we'll let you go. David Hagen, the Regional Vice President for the Delaware region of TD Bank, thank you for joining us.
Excellent.
Thank you
my
for heading up TD Bank's support for Special Olympics Delaware.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right.
Have fun.
Go enjoy it and say hello and congratulate those folks. So, all right. David Hagen, the Regional Vice President of the Delaware region for TD Bank, one of the sponsors for this event. They hosted the cocktail reception last night, and then are hosting a festival outside. If you're in the area, maybe watching this at work here in Wilmington, take your lunch hour, come down and check this out. Even if you don't know who's going down, it really is a neat thing to watch somebody come down the side of a building. Again, something you're not going to see. Michael Laureano has landed for the 6th time. One of our 4 six-time edgers, Danny Hall, who went down yesterday, a member of the state police. He has done it all 6 years, and we've got a couple other people we will introduce you to who are going to go down for the 6th time later on. You can see Linda DiMarino. She still looks confident. What has happened here is she has locked up, and there she goes. And we talked earlier about the lock-up experience. It is a safety feature if you start going too fast, which, Jimmy, let's face it, once you get a little confidence up there, you maybe want to pick up a little speed. But what it does is it keeps you from picking up too much speed. You still can go a little quicker than some people do if you want to, but it will lock up if you don't. And then the techs, one of the neatest things is that the techs are on a radio with you, and so they can literally talk you through the process. Big smile there from Linda as she has landed. She's never done anything that she calls crazy. She calls this the beginning of crazy for her. So we will see if we get a chance to talk to her. We're hoping that she will come in. Again, if you are on Twitter and you want to send a shout out to somebody, use hashtag #OverTheEdge. DE Sarah Jungling, who is the sister of a Special Olympics athlete, just tweeted that she's just about 2 hours away from going over the edge, and she can't wait. Delaware Tech celebrating their 50th anniversary with 4 people going over the edge, including the president of Delaware Tech, Dr. Brainard, has tweeted that they actually tweeted out the live Periscope link to this stream, so we appreciate that as well. And Got a couple people up next waiting for do that. And again, the sponsors of this event are the Over the Edge event for Special Olympics Delaware are TD Bank, Brandywine Realty Trust, and Newcastle County Fire Services. The supporting sponsors, Delaware Law Enforcement for Special Olympics. They're going to celebrate their 30th torch run this coming June 8th through the 10th, leading up to the Special Olympics Delaware Summer Games, scheduled for June 10th and 11th at the University of Delaware. If you are interested in volunteering for whether it's the Summer Games, for a fundraising event, as a coach, getting athletes involved or unified partners, you can email us at info@sode.org. You can also make sure to check out the website at sode.org as well for all that information. Once again, this is the 300 Delaware Avenue building in Wilmington, 17 stories, 222 feet. The edgers arrive an hour before their scheduled rappel time. And you see two folks up there ready to go. We'll get those names for you as soon as we get an opportunity. Here comes Corinne Plummer, a member of the Special Olympics staff, and she is making sure that we know who is going when and get that for you as well. You can see the insignia there of the 300 Delaware Avenue building. We are an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 45 minutes into what will be a 9-hour broadcast when it is all said and done. We understand that many of you are tuning in to see somebody specifically go over the edge. We're still waiting for Susan Forbes to go over. Scott Anderson.
She's coming up next.
All right, Susan Forbes is one of the folks.
That's Susan Forbes.
Up there. Okay, she is on the blue rope there. And Susan will pull her information here.
And Beth Murray, the other.
A friend of mine. Wonderful. Beth Murray getting ready to go over the edge. There's Beth right there. She's a special education teacher at the Wallen School in the Colonial School District. Happens to be a personal friend of my wife and I. Her husband, Struan, is the new head coach of the University of Delaware rugby team.
Oh, there you go.
And has done an exceptional program, an exceptional job reviving that program, and was a perfect fit for that, for them to come back in there. So there's Beth Murray. She told me she was a little bit nervous, and but was looking forward to doing this event today. Again, works at the Wallen School. She's been doing that for 15 years. When I asked her what crazy activities she has done, she has said absolutely none. So this will be a first for her. She wanted to thank her families and friends that helped her reach her goal, including, I know, the rugby community came through when she was getting closer to needing to reach her goal and put out an ask, and several of those players and coaches came together and helped her reach that, and wanted to wish her sister Diane a happy birthday today. So I don't know if her sister is here. I know Beth is going to come on with us after she goes down, and we can find that out. So you got Susan Forbes on the blue route. So once we go to the side of the building, that will be the one on your right, and Beth Murray is going to be on the left. Susan Forbes is an event producer for 99.5 WJBR. They are our media partner for the Reindeer Run. They've done a nice job, done a great job promoting our events, all of our events, but especially Charlie Max from the morning crew there of John and Charlie. Charlie came out and ran the Reindeer Run and was with us that day, and we appreciate their support year-round. Susan Forbes is the event producer for them. This is her second time. She went 2 years ago and didn't make it last year, but she's excited to go again. She says she's more nervous this time in her bio because she has no idea what to expect. Or actually more nervous this time. Before, I had no idea what to expect. Now she does. So that is making her a little bit more interested, a little bit more nervous. Interesting point of view.
Yeah, I figured if it'd be the opposite. If you knew, then you're good. But that's a little different.
Maybe it's the type of thing where you don't know what to think about the first time you do
Sure.
it, but the second time you do it, you got more to think about because you've gone through it. Now, she has done tandem skydiving from a glider and a glider plane. So now I can officially, in addition to I will never skydive, I will add I will never do a glider plane.
Yeah.
To me, when I think of glider planes, I think of the cartoons. And I think it was Wile E. Coyote who never survived the glider plane experience.
And if we were okay with what the Wright brothers put in the air, we would have left it that way.
That's right.
Which was basically a glider plane. We didn't. I'll give you that hint.
That is a great point. Michelle Priest has given Susan Forbes a shout-out. She says, "Go, Susan Forbes. on the Twitter. Again, if you want to give somebody a shout-out, use hashtag #OverTheEdgeDE. Obviously, they're not going to hear it as they're doing it, but I guarantee you every single one of these 87 people that are going down will watch this again once it is up on the air as a recording, and it stays up all year long. As we said, a lot of people we heard from were watching last year's event leading up to this year, especially first-timer. Susan Forbes on the right there, again, a WJBR employee, a skydiver. I want to ask her about that tandem skydiving.
Yeah.
I know skydiving in general is exhilarating. I can't imagine doing it hooked to somebody else. You can see Beth going there, and that's a great shot. Great job by the camera crew there. What they saw is she locked up, and then how you release it is that you have to push it forward, and then you pull it back like she's doing right now, and it just keeps you going. And I can tell you, having locked up a couple times on my way down, Jimmy, there's no greater feeling than knowing how simple it is to become unlocked. Because no matter what level you are of confidence on that rope, you don't want to be hanging there for too long.
No.
One way or the other.
Yeah, it's once you get to this point, you just want to go, and that's Susan's doing that.
Yes.
She's flying down now. So, and when it locks up, it's just frustrating because you're like, I got it, I got my momentum, I got my pace, lock up.
And so she is coming down a little bit, and you can see no, she didn't lock up. She still is moving there. So a repeat edger on
look
one
at that.
go. Wow, that was impressive. And she locked up.
Yep.
So
you're not meant to go that fast.
No, that is the safety mechanism they talk about, and that's important, Jimmy. They can't see it right now, but as they get lower and they see that little ledge, and that's the ledge that your crew was running wires on and stuff earlier today. So the ledge is far enough out you can walk on it, and when you see that, you'll be able to see that, you wouldn't want her descending like that, because what the rope pullers at the bottom are doing, the volunteers at the bottom, the techs, they will pull her away from that. And if she goes too fast, you're not going to get her pulled away in time. And so that's why it is important that they do that. So Susan Forbes is trying to unlock herself, and she will continue down. Beth Murray has started, a first-time person, and so she will be heading down as well.
So again, there's a look at Susan. She'll start to you see the rope there pulling away from the building. That's the lip right there that you see that we were talking about. You don't want to end up there. And so the wires, the cables, the ropes start to get pulled away from the building to get you away from that lip.
And so, it's at that point, when you're at that point, that you feel the most confident, I think, that you've done it. Well, and if you're not done, you can land right there on the ledge.
Sure, you give up.
And we can come rescue you on the second floor.
Take the elevator down the rest of the way.
But that is, I know for myself personally, that is when I felt, okay, I did this. It's all, something I can say I always did. And here she comes, that last final, Susan Forbes. And I've never seen anybody in the 3 years we've done this, and 3 years before this when I was outside emceeing, who lands straight up and down. I mean, they're all, it's like your feet have been scrunched up the whole way down, and you just kind of go into a squat when you make it down there. So another smile there. Susan Forbes, her second time coming down. Beth Murray is making her way down, a first-timer. There she is. She is one of the ones where I believe her mother-in-law, Sheila, is watching from overseas.
Oh, wow.
Her husband, Struan, is from Hong Kong. And so he is now an American citizen over here. I'm sure he is at the bottom here, and I'm hoping he comes in with Beth afterwards so we can talk to him about what it's like to watch your wife do something like this that he's never done. And her son, Dane, is a friend of my boys. I believe he is 8 years old. They didn't take him out of school to come see it, but he will certainly be watching this. So, Dane Murray, when you're watching this, and you can be rest assured your mom did a great job and survived. Apparently, you were a little worried about that. So the good news is she did, as everyone has and will. Again, we talk about the 100% success safety rate of this event is what attracts people. And I'm continued to be amazed, Jimmy, how many people I talk to who come into this event saying that they're scared of heights.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the chief reason I'll probably have trouble getting to do this. But, it's different when you kind of immerse yourself in the safety, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then, you say 100% success rate. That's not just here.
No.
That's everywhere.
And
Over the Edge does this for many different kind of events, whether it be Special Olympics
Yep.
events around the country, but also over the Edge events. You can rent them out.
Yeah.
And so, they're 100% across the country, across North America, because you mentioned they're based out of Canada. So, it's not just a small sample size.
No. And they do an incredible job. And I've never heard anything but accolades for the techs and how confident they make the people feel. As you can see Beth making that final. Actually, not yet. She's approaching that second floor ledge there. Looks like she locked up a little bit, so she'll get unhooked from that and continue her way down. And she is planning to come in and talk to us once she gets unharnessed. And again, if you're just joining us, this is the 2016 Over the Edge event to benefit Special Olympics Delaware. This is the live stream. We're in the third year of doing the live stream, and basically what it allows us to do is to give someone like Beth, what a huge smile there, her mother-in-law, Sheila, possibly watching overseas, whatever time it is over there now. It's 10:30 here, so I'm going to guess it's probably late afternoon there, watching her go over the edge. And as Jimmy and I talked about earlier in the broadcast, live streaming events, there are certain events you can live stream very effectively. Some you probably wouldn't be as effective, like our polar bear plunge when you got 4,000 people running in the ocean and you're really only tuned in to see one person. That's not going to happen. This event, very unique and a great opportunity. And when we approached Jimmy about doing this 3 years ago with his team of folks, it's one of those things. We decided, you know what, let's do it once and let's see what happens. And what has happened is the huge response. We've had over 4,000 views leading in our first two broadcasts. We'll try to update you on those numbers as we go through the day when we can. And it's just a really neat thing for people because not everybody's going to have the time to take the day off. It's a work day to come watch their friend, their spouse, a lot of high fives. That's the Wallace Wallen kids who came to watch their teacher, Beth Murray, go over the edge. A little sense of joy, a sense of relief. A sense of I did this. Mark Wise from the Special Olympics staff there. He's one of the first points of contact to help you get your gear off and get you back up. And you can see Beth just with a smile on her face. She's telling her students she'll come over and see them, some of the Special Olympics athletes that are there, seeing her get unharnessed and ready to go. So Beth Murray has officially landed. If you're just tuning in, Scott Anderson will be coming up. Mark Brainard will be coming up. Domonique Carter will be coming up. And with that, and Joe Allen and Nancy Johnson have just entered the building. Joe, do you have 1 minute to come on the set with us? There's a headset right there. Throw that headset on. Jimmy, if we can tune Joe Allen up.
Yep.
That'd be great. Joe, year number 2 in the books.
Number 2, yeah, that's right. It was a few years ago that we did it the first time.
Yeah.
And I remember it being scary. I didn't remember it being that scary.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
More scary, huh?
I was a nervous wreck the second time. It was funny because I went through all the training. I do everything. They take you up there and they show you how everything works. And then I was standing on the edge of the roof, and I suddenly forgot everything that they just told me, how to work it.
You didn't take notes, I guess.
Yeah, I did not take notes. So, but just a ton of fun.
Still a thrill.
Still a thrill, and I would love to do it again.
That'd be great. We'll have a spot for you whenever you want. We know you and Nancy Johnson are not going to have to fight about who gets to go over the edge next year.
She does not have any interest.
She made that clear, and I'm going to talk to Nancy in just a minute. But anyway, we appreciate your guys' support. We've mentioned it several times already, tweeted out social media. I know having done some broadcasting of games, when you leave the studio, everything gets a little bit more complicated, a little bit more challenging, a little bit earlier than what's already a crazy early day for you guys anyway. And so we can't thank you enough for what you do for Special Olympics. Not just today. You do the part of the Polar Bear Plunge. You publicize our events all year round. And so we hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, an absolute pleasure.
All right, go rest up, get some sleep, and thank you again. Nancy, you mind hopping on real quick for me? Nancy Johnson, a longtime supporter of Special Olympics, and she was here for the first 2 times they did the remote here. Joe Allen, brand new to the Wake Up crew. I loved listening to you guys in the morning. And Nancy, spectator down at the bottom, which is awesome. Everybody needs a good supporter. We see a lot of supporters out there. Polar Bear Plunge.
Yeah.
You do the Polar Bear Plunge.
Oh, yes, I do.
And you've done that several years. Your daughter now does it.
Yes, I've lost count of how many years I've ridiculously made the decision to jump into the frigid water.
And you keep coming back.
I know. Every year I keep coming back.
Joe does that as well.
It never gets warmer.
No, that's the thing. And no matter what the temperature is in the air, the water is always cold.
Right.
So, you guys support a lot of causes, a lot of organizations. You guys are out in the community more than you've ever been. What's the draw to be part of Special Olympics?
Oh my gosh, it's such a wonderful organization, and you guys are so connected with the community that you're serving, and I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer for us to want to get involved with you because you guys do such a great job of bringing families together that have Special Olympians and families that don't have Special Olympians. So this is a really, really wonderful organization. Like I said, we love being connected with the community, and that's what you guys do very well.
Well, it's neat watching our athletes react when they realize that the wake-up crew's outside. I heard you couldn't hear them because you're outside. And Joe, you know, more than one of our athletes come in and say, hey, the wake-up crew's outside. You got to go say hello. And I know you met some of our athletes for the first time.
It's great.
Caitlin Coughlin was one of the first ones you met early this morning because her mom's on our staff, so they were here early. She's still upstairs talking about the fact that she got to meet Nancy and Joe. So
it's really neat. It's nice for us, too, because, you know, usually every day in the studio, all I have to do is stare at that guy, at Joe.
And I almost beat Nancy.
Yeah, you did.
Almost.
It was almost a
And when you asked me to
record-breaking
do
moment.
that this morning, I you know, my son Tyler's a huge fan of you guys, and I know I'm hoping he got to hear it on the school bus. I know it played the second, you know, played when he was on the school bus, and you know, when you first asked me to do it, I was like, all right, unless it's all sports questions, I'm in trouble because I know nothing about all the pop culture.
But for the record, I did beat you.
You did beat me. There was, and you know what? I'm happy to admit you beat me because the score was 4-3.
Right.
I'm happy I wasn't shut out because that was what I was thinking. Fortunately, there was a football-related question, and I somehow came up with the answer to the two events that Over the Edge supports, or the organization that Over the Edge supports. I was managed to pull that one, and then a complete guess on another one.
Well,
so
good.
I enjoyed it. Hey, I hope you guys had a great time outside.
We absolutely did.
Can't thank you enough. Hope you're a part of this event again.
Of course we will.
All right, and you'll be able to see yourself on the stream tomorrow morning. It'll be up, and you'll be able to get that.
Excellent.
So, all right.
Thanks
again
John.
for being part of this. Have a great rest of the day.
All right, so Scott Anderson just finished up, and Domonique Carter is going to be on yellow.
All righty. So Scott Anderson, we apologize we weren't able to talk to him, but we wanted to catch Nancy Johnson and Joe Allen while they had a chance. They just wrapped up outside. Michelle Priest, way to go, Susan Forbes. Blazing new trail, she tweets. Congratulations. Susan Forbes just landed a little bit ago. Scott Anderson has volunteered for 30 years. He works for Barclays Bank. That was his third time. No wonder he went down what seemed like so quickly. He has been a skydiver once, although he says he'd do it again in a second. He's done some bungee jumping, and he did a giant swing in Ocean City. You know anything about that, Jimmy?
No, no idea.
Giant swing. I have no idea what that is, other than it sounds safer to me than skydiving. I'll go out on a limb.
You hate skydiving.
And say that. I do. Yeah, if you've been tuned into the whole broadcast, you've heard my. It's not that I hate it. I'm scared to go, and I'm readily to admit that.
Hate, scared, same thing.
Exactly. Scott Anderson has landed his third time. So. And you said who is up on there? Did you say? Domonique is up there. Domonique Carter. Still waiting. Mark Brainard, Virginia Stasinski, R.J. Chandler, Faye Adcots, Annette Messina, Richard Arroyo, all scheduled. And the Wilmington Police Chief, Bobby Cummings, scheduled to go. And it's Chief Richard Arroyo of the Delaware River Basin Authority Police Department. So we've got two chiefs going for the first time. I don't believe we've ever had a chief of police go down. We certainly have not had two go down at the same time. You can see a member of the Wilmington Police Department right there, probably here to watch his boss. Not a bad idea. You know, if your boss is doing something like this, it's probably a good idea to show up there.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Domonique Carter is going to be next. She is up on the roof, and we'll be heading down. That is her on the right there in the green. And I believe Domonique, yes, she is one of the crew. 4 people from Delaware Tech and Community College are going to be going down, including Dr. Mark Brainard. And that is Dr. Brainard there on the left, I believe. I recognize him from last night at the cocktail reception. So what they have done is Delaware Tech is celebrating its 50th anniversary by doing 50 community service projects throughout the state. They had a number of participants in the Polar Bear Plunge back in February, and 600 participants in the Down Syndrome Association Rocks Your Socks fundraiser. They've been able to raise $6,300 in donations. More than 200 members of the Delaware Tech community have supported them financially. Some of them are on hand here. And joining us is Jerry McNesby, who is with the Delaware Tech Community College, and he's going to be donning the headset here in just a minute. And Jerry has a certain passion for Special Olympics because his brother, 56-year-old Michael, is a Special Olympics athlete and has been for years involved in Special Olympics. And so, Jerry, you have welcome to the program. Thanks for stopping by. We're going to talk with you while they're coming down, and I know you want to be at the bottom when they get out there. So we'll make sure you are, as Dr. Mark Brainard is going over, along with Domonique Carter, both heading over the edge. And they're both employees of Delaware Tech Community College. And R.J. Chandler is going to be going over the edge right after them, and Vincent Stasinski. And basically what Dr. Brainard did, Jerry, is he challenged the 3 colleges at Delaware Tech to each have one representative. As you can see, Dr. Brainard taking that first step back, and I'm going to ask you about that because you're a veteran edger.
Exactly.
Correct?
Did it last year.
And so, he challenged each college to come up with somebody and for that college to support that person and raise the funds necessary for them to go over, which they far surpassed it. You only needed $3,300, and you came up with $6,300.
Right.
And so, wonderful effort by them as Dr. Brainard takes that first step back. And Dr. Brainard not only made the challenge, he said, you know what? If 3 of you do it, I'll go with you. And here he goes.
Absolutely. And you can see Monique Carter on the right. She's an academic advisor from our Owens campus in Georgetown. And I know a lot of her friends and fellow employees are currently viewing this live stream.
Live on the Periscope. They're tweeting out from Delaware Tech and on the live stream. Yep.
And one of her best qualifications for doing this was that she feared heights.
Oh, okay.
And she still did it anyway. But I know that she wants to send a message out to all the faculty and staff there at the Owens campus currently viewing her to, first of all, thank them for their donations, certainly the support and encouragement that they have given her to do this. As you know, John, this is not an easy task, especially when you take that first step out onto the ledge there.
Right.
But and she wanted to do a special thank you, number one, to her other academic advisors who are covering for her, and have given her encouragement and support. And a special thanks to the campus director, Dr. Laureano Smith, and our Dean of Student Affairs there, Dr. Melissa Rakes, who asked her to do this, and she's thrilled. She'll be especially thrilled in 10 minutes from now when she's standing with her feet on the ground.
Here they come. That's Dr. Brainard on the right.
For sure.
And Domonique on the left there. And so just a wonderful job by the Delaware Tech community. 50 events in 50 days. Jimmy's handed me the note here. We have 231 people watching on the Ustream. We're just 2 hours into it. So, that's an impressive number. If you're just joining us, this is
and that's watching
stream
right now.
Oh, wow. That's not total.
I'll get the total when we're done.
Wow, that's unbelievable. That might be the most we've ever had watching at one time. That's super. 2016 Over the Edge event. So
it should be interesting. I know it's being live streamed at all of our campuses. And Georgetown, Dover, and certainly Stanton, and here in Wilmington.
Yeah, and that's one of the neat things about doing this. Not only can you watch the person you're interested in, but they can put it out all over a company or a school or whatever.
Exactly.
And so welcome to all of you at Delaware Tech. To any of you that supported these folks going over, we appreciate you helping out Special Olympics. 4,000 athletes of all ages statewide. One of them is your brother.
Brother Michael.
I'm very interested to hear your take on what Special Olympics has meant to not only his life, but your family's life. We talk a lot of time to parents of Special Olympics athletes. We don't often get to talk to a sibling.
Right.
And somebody who has been a major part of your brother's life, inside and outside of Special Olympics. What has Special Olympics meant to him and to your family?
Well, first of all, our whole family focus. He is the centerpiece for our whole family. All of our activities revolve around what he wants to do, when he wants to do it. But I think, with the job that yourself and Ann and your whole team does throughout the year in providing these activities that enrich the lives of all of our special citizens throughout, folks like Michael there. He specializes in bocce ball and bowling throughout the year. And there's not a better sight than watching them put a gold or silver, bronze medal around his neck, and he does nothing but brag.
And those two sports are great because a lot of times, is he better than you at bowling?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's often the case with those two sports especially.
Very impressive there. But once again, I mean, this is all part of the college. We're celebrating our 50th year anniversary.
Yeah,
this year.
tell us about some of the things. I mentioned a couple that were in the bios,
yeah.
but I'm sure there's a lot more that you've been doing.
Well, ironically, we kicked off the year with the polar bear plunge.
Oh, okay, right.
I did not go in the water, but we had a number of
your official towel holder.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. But I worked along with a number of folks at the registration through the 3-day period because you can't say no to Barbara Spence.
There you go. That's right.
I know we had teams from our Georgetown campus headed up by Bobby Kime down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he had about 7 or 8 plungers, students.
Yes.
And the students are very involved in a lot of our projects there. We have worked with organizations, whether it be the Bowl-a-thon in Milford for the Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
We have had great participation throughout the college on Rock the Socks for the Down Syndrome Association back in March there. And we've not just here in this country, but also throughout the. There goes Domonique.
She wanted to look out. She wanted to look out. That's all she's doing. She wanted to take a look out. Big smile on her face.
But Mark encourages, and emphasizes the word community in our name there. And we've had trips to Vietnam where our students go study abroad, and not just for a sightseeing trip, but certainly it's educational. But also helping their orphanages, help constructing soccer fields. So it's not just, it's international.
Wow.
So.
I just got an update on the total raised by Delaware Tech, these 4 folks and all their supporters, $7,500.
Wow.
That's like a major fundraiser in and of itself.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a lot of organizations out there who would die to have a fundraiser that would raise $7,500.
Yep.
These 4 folks just did that.
For sure.
17 stories.
They worked hard. I mean, we're proud to have the highest ranking team there, and I know Reggie Chandler's going to be down next, along with Virginia there, but we're real proud, and I know they are so supportive. I mean, we've had over 175 people writing checks to help support what Monique and Mark and Reggie and Virginia are doing here today.
That's
so
neat.
I know Monique feels real good right now that she has both feet on the ground.
She has landed. Do you want to go out and say hello and come back if you want? Or it's up to you.
Yeah.
So. What you want to do?
I'm good. I'm just as long as I keep talking about Del Tech and their 50th anniversary
they
and
don't care how long you talk,
the great partnership, that we have started and want to strengthen here with the Special Olympics at Delaware, because there's a lot of fine nonprofits throughout this state.
Well, and the important thing, and this goes for any nonprofit, you're reaching the next generation of supporters.
Exactly.
Because let's face it, you and I aren't going to live forever.
Exactly.
I think I'm going to, but the reality is I'm not. And
Exactly.
it's going to be important that this generation, and I've got a 24-year-old son, and I, one of the things I made sure that when he was growing up, he understood what community service was all about. And it's important that, we're reaching the Delaware Tech students, the ones who are there watching this today.
Exactly.
Who knows? There might be 10 of them who have already decided next year we want more information. And if you want more information, go to our website, sod.org, click on the Over the Edge banner, and we'll get you the information you need for next year's event, which will be that second Thursday in May. So who do we got coming up
We
here?
have Reggie Chandler, Dr. Reggie Chandler on the right there. He's an architect, engineering, and construction management instructor from our Terry campus in Dover.
So he knows a little bit about buildings.
For sure.
I wonder if he went through an inspection on his own when he was up there.
He clearly understands physics.
That's funny.
There, and Virginia Stasinski on your left. There, and of course Virginia's from the Stanton George campus, and she's a social science instructor there. She just completed the Boston Marathon last month.
Yeah, she says she's done a few marathons, but nothing crazy. This crazy. Marathons are crazy in my book, but
she definitely wants to do a shout out to Ann Carter's math class, who is currently watching this live stream up on the electronic board there in their classroom. So
we appreciate that. And the good thing, hey, all you classmates in Ann Carter's class, as long as you're 18 years old, which I know you all are, you can do this event next year. You can be the one up there on that rope.
Yep. There you see Mark.
That's
there.
Dr. Brainard. Yep.
I know Virginia. She's like I said, she's just completed the Boston Marathon. There, she's completed the Marine Corps and the Philly Marathon a couple different times.